recording. Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is the class on that beautiful Monarch. Ta-da! Check it out. This is the Monarch we will be painting. It doesn't look quite the same as the picture I gave you. Here's another one that I did, so you can compare the two. Oh, would be nice if you could see it though, huh? Aha! There you go. One has more red. This one here has more red, if you can see. And this one over here has more yellow. So you can decide when you're putting down the color if you want it to be more on the reddish orange side, or maybe have all three colors kind of prominent. Think about that now. Okay, so when you put it all together, it should look quite nice because I gave you the frame. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to pretend that all of you are first timers. And I know some of you aren't, so bear with me. Sorry about that. I have information on what we're going to do, and I usually do it in order of how we put the colors on. And that's usually what I do. I try to be organized. Another thing I'd like to tell you is today, the small piece of paper. I gave you a big piece of paper and a small piece of paper. The big one is that if you want to do it again, you can. You could fold it in half and make two more. I don't know how much paint I gave you, but for sure you have enough to do one more. But today's paper is on arches. The smaller piece of paper is 140 pound. And it's very good paper. I did it on the not so great paper one time on this one, and it sort of buckled and it was giving me some problems, but I still like it. And then I did it again on the better paper. And so I wanted to see which one would work out best for you. And that's why I gave you two pieces of paper. So if you would rather use the thinner paper, that's okay. And then later on, once you've done your practice, you can use the thicker paper. And the thicker one is the smaller paper. So I am totally okay with whichever piece of paper you decide to use. It's up to you. I'm not going to judge. In fact, I would probably do it on the bigger piece so that you can really get the idea of what we're going to do, you know. So first things first, what we always do is we take our piece of paper, and you know what? Since I'm just doing this, I'm not going to use the nice paper. I'm going to wait and use the nice paper later. So I'm going to use the bigger piece of paper. Should I fold it? Yeah, why not? The reason I'm folding it is because then you don't have to worry about, you can even make a card out of it, see? So I'm going to do it right here and have the bridge on it right there. So I'm going to fold it, and that is awesome. One side is smoother than the other side. I think the side you want to paint on, it doesn't really matter for this one. I always go with the rougher side because I think more interesting things happen. It's just what I do. Okay, so this is the paper I'm using. This is Canson watercolor. Most of you have this one. It's possible that some of you have Arteza. That is possible too. So there's all different types that it's possible that you guys have. Okay, so what we're going to do first is you need to take your picture out, and I believe your picture, where's my picture? There it is. Okay. And I'm going to take my number 2B pencil. Everybody's got it. Did you notice how I have this fancy box? Ooh la la, I tell you. Ooh. Hopefully it'll stay together. If not, I'll end up using rubber bands. And I'm going to go ahead and put everything else away. I don't need this for right now. But what I'm going to focus on is holding it up to the light and making a circle around where the butterfly is. So that way I take my pencil, this one's getting kind of small, I'm going to be sharpening it quite a few times, I think. And I'm going to lay down an area. I'm going to go down and so you can see what's happening. Oops, you know what? I have to change cameras. So give me 1 second. Okay, sharing, going to second camera, advanced, and share. Okay, well, let's hope it's recording. If it's not, well, then I'll have to do this class all over again. Okay, so now if you're on your camera here, sometimes I say things and don't finish them. That's just my age. I tell you, I sometimes forget all sorts of things, and sometimes the lead comes out, so I have to sharpen it about 1,000,000 times. But what I'm going to do is put down a layer, fairly dark. You can get your frustrations out now, and the reason I'm putting this down is because, as everybody knows, this is how we do the transfer. So if I do the transfer dark enough, it will show up. Every little line that I need to show up will show up. Okay, obviously, people who have done this before and they're watching this video, they can fast forward through this stuff. But I will zoom in so you can see how dark I make it. I actually make it quite dark. It's good to make it dark. You really got to put some elbow grease into it. I'm exhausted. I guess I don't need to go to a gym now. Haha. Okay. So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom out a bit here, is I believe yours isn't the whole piece of paper. Yours is probably, I probably trimmed it down a little bit so you're not all overwhelmed with ridiculous amount of paper, okay? So I need to decide where I'm going to put it. Well, I'm pretty much just going to put it right there. But how do I keep it there? Well, everybody has a little piece of tape that I put on your paints. So I'd like you to take a piece of that. I gave you 2 in case you wanted to do it again. And now I'm taking my shirt and I'm just getting off some of the sticky because I'm always afraid it's going to hurt the paper. Okay? Now I'm hoping that's not going to move. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to follow every single line. As far as the dots go, you don't have to put them in because we're going to cover them up. I would put in the circles, the yellow circles, definitely. And I definitely would put in these lines and whatnot. But I got to tell you, these dots, I just did at the end. And you're not going to see them anyway, okay? So I'll show you what I'm going to do. Never mind about the white dots. Don't draw them in. But of course, you're going to want to put in the antennae, whatever they're called. And then I'm just going to draw it in there. And I'm going to press kind of hard. I'm going to do the body. And for newbies, everything I draw will then come out. And that's why I don't want to move the paper, because I want to keep it really, because everything I draw will show up. So I want to make sure I follow the outside of this line. Okay, now as far as this business goes, I just want to make sure that it's smooth. You see it almost looks like an M. And then it goes here, and then I have these lines. And these will the lines that we'll be drawing with the pen at the end. But I do want to make sure they're in there so that I have something to follow. All right, my husband's in the background talking, so I just hope you can't hear him. I don't even know what he's talking about, but I guess we'll find out after we listen to the tape. All right, hopefully it's positive things. There we go, here we go. Doing those little squigglies. And again, I'm pressing fairly hard because I don't want to lose those lines, especially when I put my, my color down. Okay, here it is. I'm going to do this part here. Try and make it smooth. And then go in here. I usually look up to give you a little something information about monarchs. I just heard they were coming to Novato. That's all I heard. So I know they have a migratory existence. They cruise around in groups, I guess. That's what they do, in gangs. A monarch gang. That would be funny. Call yourself the Monarch Motorcycle Gang or something. Okay, I do watch these videos afterwards, and I always think, what an idiot. So I know I say weird things, and I don't even think before I say them, which is worse. Oh my gosh. Of course, maybe you'll excuse me if I don't think before I make these videos, and I won't think I'm such a dork. Just a stream of consciousness comes out of me, and oh, sometimes it's scary. Okay, here we go. You get to get inside my brain, which is, whew, I don't know. Lately, it's a mess. I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. Cruising down. It kind of takes a while to get this part done, you know? But, okay, no dots. Is it perfect? Is it what I want it to be? I will lift it up and look. Oh, yeah, it's pretty good. Yep, I can see the black, where I'm going to do all the black, and then where I'm going to do all, oops, I lost one little line. So you can see by doing that. And then when you feel confident that you've got it all down, I'm going to zoom in. Sometimes this doesn't focus, so voila, there we go, that's it. So this is pretty messy, I'll tell you, but you need to keep it, because while you're painting, you're going to be looking at this picture. I'm going to keep it real nearby so that while I'm doing my business, I'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I want to make this part darker, or I want to make this part lighter, or something like that. So it's very important to keep. Okay, now what you need to do is take your eraser and find if there's any smudges you want to get rid of. Okay? For the most part, I love everything about it. But if you see something smudgy that you don't like, go ahead and get rid of it. But I'm going to keep all these dark lines. I need them. I need them. Okay, so now what do I do? Well, I can go ahead and move that away so I don't splash it. And what I'm going to do now is take my watercolors, and I'm going to take my biggest brush, but I'm not going to put the brush in the water, in the areas. I'm just going to put water on the actual area, okay? Put a little water there, boop, not much, just a couple drops, and I'm not touching it. I'm just going in and getting this stuff reconstituted, okay? Now, I did give you a special tool for reconstituting. So if you look in your box, fingers crossed, mine is there. Well, of course not. Why would it be there? Because that is what I want you to see. But there is one in there that is bristly, and it looks like it's short little bristles. It's one that they use for stenciling. Of course, I don't have mine because I got all the boxes together and I don't have mine, but it is this color. It's light, and it is so that you can reconstitute all those guys. Now, you will need probably 3 glasses of water. 1 glass will be for the reconstitution, and then we'll get rid of it. And then the other 2 glasses, I usually use a fairly large glass, you know, and fill it about 3/4 full. And you'll also need, where did they go? Here it is. My instructions, and also 3 or 4 paper towels. At any point, you can pause this video if you need to run to the bathroom. You don't have to ask me, of course, because this is a recording. Sha, sha, sha. Okay, you can tell I teach because I say silly things like that. Okay, so I have got my reconstituting thing out. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slowly get this so that it's nice and liquidy. And I am using one that is dried just like you. So I know it takes a while. And once you feel that it's completely smooth and there's nothing hard in there, and you feel like, yep, I think I got it all, then you're done. Okay? And I'm hoping, I got this idea from one of my students, and I will find out tonight because I'm pretty sure she's in it. I don't know if it's Janet who told me or Deanie, but she said, oh, I use, to get mine reconstituted, I use that stiff brush. And I'm thinking, yes, that's what I have to do because number one, it takes forever. And number two, it won't ruin my brushes. I don't use the most expensive brushes. I've used pretty cheap ones, but not horrible ones. But because I have so many students either taking my class or keeping my brushes for a little while before they return them, I have to have lots of brushes. Okay, now you will find that it's discussed. The water will turn completely blue. That's okay. Dry off your brush. The reason I'm drying it off is because guess what? It's not clean. So I'm washing it off, and because I'm so worried, I might even use another glass of water. I can always get more, right? I know where that came from. Now, my brush is clean. I can tell. Otherwise, this would turn green because blue and yellow make green. I don't want green. And I'm going to rub it to get it. You know what? I gave you far too much. Like I said, oh, darn it, this is a little bit green. Oh, man, seriously? Well, guess what I'm going to have to do? Because there's no way, Jose, do I want there. See, I had green water. So I did not clean my brush enough. And the next time I do this, I might have everybody start off with the yellow one because I'm so worried. So note to self, start getting it liquidy with the yellow one because that blue is so blue. It's called Prussian blue. Then we dry it off, we clean it off, and we go down to the orange. Again, you don't have to do the whole thing. And watch out because it might splatter, especially since you're using that brush. If you need to add some more water, you can. Okay? Clean it off. And now before I do my black, I'm going to do my red because I don't want to dirty up my red. So now I'm going to go down here and get my red going. Okay? Okay, before I even get this started, we really don't use very much red. No, I'll just explain it later. Don't worry about it. Ooh, that's a hard one. Okay, and now I can go ahead and get my black going. This is really not black, but it can be. It is called Payne's Gray, and it is what I consider to be black, but it actually has a lot of blue in it. Okay, so I'm going to run right now. I don't have to run. I got to get some more water. I'll get that later because luckily I have 3 glasses. Or do I? No, I don't. I told you to get 3 glasses and I didn't get 3 glasses. So I'm going to pause it. 1 second. Pausing now to get 3 new glasses of water. Okay, hi again. All right, here we go. And here we go. Okay, so I went and got 3 more glasses of water. All my paints are ready to go. I'm trying to tidy up a little around here. Bit of a disaster, but that's all right. Okay, 3 glasses of water. That was kind of hard to bring over here. And another paper towel, and I've got my picture. Okay, so what am I going to do first? Well, let's read and see what it says. Wet around the butterfly right up to the wing in the area near the head and body. Okay, so what I'm going to do before I do it is I'm going to wet very carefully around the butterfly, okay? And then I'm going to paint that area right in there. and then I'm just going to keep painting it. Now, if you'd like to watch before you do it, that's wise, okay? So some people, I can paint right over, oh, it's a little dirty, but that's okay. I'm going to paint right over the antennae because those will come in later. I can't believe my water's dirty. I thought for sure it wasn't, but that's life. Okay. Now, if you're using the cruddier paper, it's going to dry pretty fast. But again, I'm just making sure that I'm going right up there, and don't get his body. And you'll notice that it gets a little shiny, and that's normal because I'm putting water on the paper, but I'm not going into the butterfly. Now, what happens if I do get into the butterfly? Who cares? It's not the end of the world because that part's going to be black anyway. So if I'm not super careful, it's not the end of the world. Do not worry, okay? But I think it's easier to work safely the first time than having to fix mistakes later. Okay? All right, I'm backing up here, and now I'm going to take the blue. Okay? I'm putting the blue in the one next to it because that way I can control how much I'm using. Otherwise, I get it all on there and I might get globs, and I don't want globs. Now, to start with, I'm pushing down the paper. You could always tape it down if you want to. And now I'm very carefully putting it in. Okay? There we go. That's what I'm doing. I'm going for it. It's kind of scary because it's such a dark color that sometimes people are like, oh, what's going on? Okay, so putting it in there, and you'll notice there's a lot of liquid going on. It's very liquidy. If it's dry, if you find that it's not moving around much, that's not a good thing. Okay, you get some more water if you need to and put that on there. Okay, sometimes I turn my painting upside down if I need to get to another area because it makes it easier, and then I won't get all dirty. And if you get this on your clothes, it will stain. You think, oh, watercolors, it's you know, it's friendly, it's not going to hurt you. Well, it stains, but that's all right. I'm wash and wear, as they say. Starting to sound like my mom. Okay, here we go. I'm getting in there, and now by the butt, I'm being careful because I don't want that. And like I said, it's not the end of the world because mine got a little bit there. Now, once I get it down, I take more, and I go ahead and I paint the whole thing. Okay, now if this is going to be a card, oh, I could paint all the way to the top if I wanted to. Is it important to paint to the top? No, because if I frame it, I don't have to worry about the top. But I'm going to do it anyway because that's just what my brain tells me to do. Yes, must paint the whole thing. But again, you don't have to. Okay, going down at the bottom, taking some more. And I am getting it all nice and finished. Okay? All right, now for the fun of it, I'm going to take this blue and make it thicker in certain parts. I'm just going to go around. And this is when we get to put in some pretty splashes. I can take and move it around a little bit. Okay, now why am I doing that? Because I don't want it to be all one boring blue. If you look at mine, if you look at the picture that I gave you, you'll notice that it looks like, oh, it's lighter up at the top. Okay, well, how did I make that? I went like this, and I put some water in it. Okay, well, yeah, that's going to buckle it a little bit. It's going to make it, but I can also move the water around by picking it up and moving the water around. It sometimes looks cool. Another thing I like to do is I like to take my paper towel, get it a tiny bit wet, and then go and dab some up. Okay, when I do that, it gives it texture. Okay, now it's not going to dry like that. again, I can go in and move things around a little. Okay. Right up to the edge, because I don't want to make it look like I forgot to, move it around like near it. I'm trying to make it look natural, like I just naturally know how to make how things look amazing. And do I want to put some more water on it? Maybe. Boop, 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 boop. Aha! All right. Now, once you've got it down, I'm going to zoom in so you can see. It looks like a mess. Okay, but notice that nothing's going on with my butterfly. My butterfly is safe. I like it, I like it, I like it a lot. I'm going to go in here just a little bit more because I thought it was too much, because I don't want it overwhelming. I mean, yes, I like the blue, but I also want the butterfly to stand out. So I am going to take a little bit away. Now, how do I remove it? Well, it's almost like I'm using the brush like a shovel. And I get it real nice and wet and I push it around. I can push it around because it's still wet. So all I do is go in there and push it. There we go. Because I don't want the background to be the absolute focus of my amazing butterfly. I want the butterfly to pop out, and I know it'll pop out, but I want to make sure it does. Okay, I'm going in there, push it away, and this will dry. Now, the important thing to do right now is to say, enough. Enough is enough. I'm not going to do any more. That's it. Okay, one more splash. All right, that's it. I'm not doing any more. That's it. So I'm going to let it sit for a minute, and just because it's real puddly on the side, I might clean it up a little bit, just a little bit, because I don't want it going all over the place. And I might pick it up again and tap it, see what happens. I'm going to take my hairdryer and I'm going to put it on a low setting, and I'm going to dry it back and forth. I'm going to put my paint somewhere else while I'm drying because I don't want my paint flying everywhere. Okay, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Put it on a low setting, and I am going to just kind of go over it like this. Sometimes if you put it on a high setting, you can actually blow the paint all over the place. And there are times that I want to do that. But right now, I don't want that effect, okay? And you can take your paper towel if you want to and do a little dabbing. That's all right. It adds to the interest. But like I said, if you've got movement going on around here, it's going to look amazing when you get that guy on there. You just don't want it looking solid. That's called flat, and we just don't want to be flat for this. Okay? Hopefully you can hear me over the hairdryer. But it's important to be completely dry before we get to the next section. Actually, if you don't have a hairdryer, it's not the end of the world. It just gets a little messy because we're going to work on the orange part, the yellow part, the red part, and the little pieces here. Then we're going to do the black. So by the time we get to the black, this blue will be dry. I just don't want it to get all over you. And then at the end, we'll be using the black pen, and for the very, very fine features. And then the white pen will come in play at the end. Works out much better. I tried painting it before with white, and the details, it's just too hard. Much easier with the white pen. Thank goodness for white pens. Thank you. Thank you, Amazon. All right. So I think for the most part, it's not perfectly dry, but it's dry enough that I can touch it and not have it come up on my hands. So good enough for now. Not good enough to paint over, but good enough for what I'm doing. Okay, let's see what I said now. Blah, blah, blah. Paying attention, get the intense blue, blah, blah, did number 2. Put yellow on circles on the top of the wings. Yes, I ended up using yellow up here on these little circles. We can work on that. And then we're going to pre-wet the bottom of the wings right down here and put a little yellow there. Okay, so we're going to work on what size brush? Well, I've given you 3 or 4. Personally, I think since we're doing detail, I would use the one that's not the tiniest one, but I would use the one that's fairly small. You know, I'm not using the one that's microscopic. Let's just say that. I know I gave you guys a couple different ones so you could decide. Now, of course, where's my paper towel? On the ground where it always is. My dog likes to chew them up. So I am not going to pre-wet these little dots. No. Instead, I'm just going to go ahead and take my yellow, and I don't have to worry. I mean, I don't have to bring it over here because I'm not getting it from the globule section. But now I'm going to sit here and do the little circles. Okay? So, again, if we go out of the lines, it's not the end of the world because we're going to fix them later. We're going to go over them with pen, and then we're going to be painting black around them. Okay? Now, if you don't want yours to be yellow, I think it's pretty. But if you want it to be red or whatever, then you go ahead and paint them red, you know? So, all right. Now, to pre-wet the bottom area, I'm just going to get this part right here. Okay, I'm just going to get a little bit of water on there and a little bit of water, clean water, of course, on this bottom part. Okay, you can get this whole area wet, this whole bottom thing. I don't know why I said just pre-wet the bottom, but this is the bottom part of the thing. And now I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to drop it in. Now this is not the end of it. This is not the yellow that it's going to stay, okay? Unless you love it, but I'm going to definitely add some more orange to that in a little while, okay? All right, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see. That's all I have going on right now, okay? You can make this part darker if you need to. If you don't feel like it got dark enough, go ahead, put them in there. Okay, now I'm going to clean off my brush and I'm going to put a little bit of orange right here. Back it up so you can see. I'm taking my orange just because in case I want to do some mixing, I don't want to mar that area. I don't want to auger it or mess it up, if you will. Okay? So there you go. I've got that in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the orange in. It's such a pretty orange. And I can go right up to the yellow. Okay? I'm going in, putting the orange in. Now I have to decide how much do I want it to mix. Okay, because I put the darker orange up here. I think it would be pretty to mix it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my orange, okay, and I'm going to put it here on another square. And now I'm going to rinse off my brush and then take some of the yellow and mix it in there. Rinse off my brush, take the yellow, mix it in here. I'm trying to get a lighter orange. It doesn't seem to be working very well. What I may have to do, since this is such a light yellow, is bring the yellow over one and then take a tiny bit of orange and put it in there. Aha! Now I've got a slightly yellow one. So then this is still wet. I can go in there and I can drop in a little of the mixture. Okay? And again, do I want to move it around a little bit? Where do I want it darker up here and lighter down there? It might look pretty. Remember, it's like a stained glass window. When we're done, we're going to have parts that are lighter and parts that are darker. You can go back in and put some more yellow if you need to. If you want to put the yellow in and push it around, like, oh, wait, it's getting too much, you can mop it up, push it back, and go back in, because remember, we haven't dirtied up our yellow, and we can put the more yellow in. Because what we're doing is we're working with orange and yellow right now. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see, and I personally like it to be yellow here and orange here. I don't know what a true monarch looks like. I mean, I guess I could, you know, who knows? I don't know how much is orange and how much is red or anything. I am going to put more red at the top. That will be pretty, you know. It's too bad we don't have 3 or 4 monarchs to do at once, so then we can decide what's going on, you know. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just make sure I'm still recording. So I'm stopping the share just for a second. Yes, I am. Terrific. Good. Because I don't want to be chatting my head off without recording. Okay, so that's wet. So I don't want to pick it up. I don't want to do anything to it. I really like what's going on. If anything, I might add just a little bit of darker on 1 or 2 of them. See? Because then later on, I have dark and light and yellow, and it'll look really pretty. So that's what I did, is I just added a little bit. I'm going to leave it. Now I'm going to get my clean water, and I'm going to get this section wet. Okay? And remember, we don't need to get the black part, is that it's kind of nice because it's protected. So I'm going in there. You know what I noticed? I did soft lines on this side, loops, and I did little Sharpies on this side. Oh, it's not even. I'm kind of bummed. You know what I might do? When I'm putting in the black, I'm going to make them the same. Since it's loopy down here and loopy over here, when I put the black in, I'm going to get rid of those little sharp edges. That's what I'm going to do. I cannot believe it, because you know they're supposed to be even for the most part. I mean, it's a butterfly. It's supposed to be symmetrical, right? So I messed up when I drew it. I took it off of the internet, some, you know, picture, some stock photo, and I messed up. Oh, well. Okay, now I want to look at my picture and see what's going on. Ooh, you know what? There's a little bit of red down there. I didn't even know that. So, of course, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to even drop in a little bit of red. Ooh, that'll look cool. Here we go. If I do it on one side, I'm going to do it on the other. And it kind of is bleeding, which is a good thing. It's kind of doing its business. Ooh, I'm glad I saw that. Okay, I like what it's doing. What it's doing a little traveling. See? I don't know if you can see that or not. But because it's so wet, I don't want to touch it. I want it to do what it's going to do. Okay? I'm going to go back to number 1. And now I'm going to put in my orange, my dark orange. I already pre-wetted this. And I'm still using my small brush, not my, you know, I'm using my detail brush. All right, and then I'm going to go in and put the orange in on this side. Oh, I can even fix it right now. I can make it the loop. See, I can get rid of those points. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. And I've already painted it like 2 or 3 times, and this is the first time I've noticed that, so it's weird. All right, so now that I have that in there, I'm going to go and take a little bit of my red, and I'm going to dab it in. I don't have to have it on the whole thing. Remember, this is your butterfly. So because I have it on one side, I'm doing it on the other. And I think I might even bring mine down right to the center. And then because I want it to move a little bit, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of water. I think movement is good. If there's too much movement, if you don't like what's happening, again, you can do your little mopping job. You can sit there and you can See, you can go like this and you can go up, mopping it up, going to redo that area because sometimes it doesn't look too good. So go back in there, put in the color, put in a little red. I think I added too much red, too much water. And that's why I go back and forth and then change the consistency of the water because I just don't want it so thick. All right, put some more water in there, dab, dab, dab. Sometimes the dabbing makes it look, I don't know, well, pretty, you know, get a little water in there, make it look a little thinner. That is so pretty. Woo, can't wait. Okay, now that I'm done with that, you'll notice how much paint I have. I think I could probably paint another 4 butterflies. They're not caterpillars, not yet. We'll do that one next, okay? But again, once this dries, don't worry. Use it again. You can do the same thing we did before. Remember, I didn't get this dirty. You saw in the beginning how it turned green and I was freaking out. Just cleaned it up. Okay, anytime something gets gross, you can always clean it up. But this is good. This is amazing. Okay, now what do I do? Blah, blah, blah. When completely dry, do the edges and body with Payne's Gray. Do not do details with paintbrush. Yeah, no details, not yet. Wait until dry, and then we're going to do the dots and everything. So again, because I like what it's doing, I'm afraid to dry it on high. I'm going to dry it on low. So I'm going to put you on pause while I dry it. Put you on pause. Pause, pause, pause while I dry. Okay, so mine is all dry now. Okay, what I'm going to do, I will show you. But the dogs are barking, by the way. Just want you to know that because they're being obnoxious. It's completely dry, nice and warm. Since it's completely dry, I am going to go ahead and do my details in black. Now, it has to be dry for this, otherwise it won't work. I'm going to go ahead and go around my yellow bits. I was looking at my picture and they're orange in it, but so now they're yellow. I guess the first time I did it, I must have made them orange. So like I said, you've got plenty of time. You could always change the color, but I think it just, oh gosh, this is fun using this pen. I love it. Hoping your pen is working. Don't push too hard because that nib is so delicate. And then I'm going to go ahead and do his little antennae, whatever you want to call them. And then I'm going to go ahead and very gently do the lines. Some of you have 005 pens. Do that for the lines. Others, this one I'm using is a 1. All you have to do is barely touch it. If you don't press too hard, it'll be light enough. And then I'm just following the lines. Okay? All right. It's actually not important for me to follow. Well, it's fine. I'm going to follow the lines because when I paint it, these lines won't even matter, but I want to get it right up there and I want to make sure that it comes out good. Okay. I might even go over the body so that when I paint it, maybe I can make the body look a little, it looks like I made the body a little bit lighter. So might as well do that now. I don't need to do the outside. Oh, I made it sharp. All right, I was going to smooth them out. That's what I was going to do. Oh, well, I got one sharp one. So you know what? I'm going to make this one sharp. There, see? Yeah, that's not the end of the world, see? I just was kind of not thinking. The dogs will bark if somebody comes to pick up their painting supplies. And I'm sure you've heard them. They go absolutely ape. And the problem is it doesn't help to shout. And it just makes everybody angry. So I let them do their business. But inside I'm seething. I just want you to know that. Okay. So does that sort of match? It looks like I have an extra little line here. Well, guess what? I'm going to put it in there, and I'm going to put it in over here. Might as well. Easier to add lines than take them away, you know? There we go. All right. Cool. Now, is there anything else I need to do? Nope. All right. What I'm going to do is use my detail brush again, and I am going to not pre-wet. Well, I will pre-wet the middle part. I will pre-wet the middle part because I don't want this one. I want this one to have a little bit extra something up. Take a little bit of this, and again, I can use my paper towel, and I'm doing this separately. So before class tonight, I'm going to read up on monarchs so I sound smart. I know there's a place in Mexico, and I've actually been to it. Or was it in Costa Rica? Oh, I can't remember if it was in Costa Rica or Mexico, where they had all sorts of butterflies. And I tried to paint some silkweed in the backyard. Is it called silkweed or milkweed? Yeah, that's what it's called. Because I heard that that attracts butterflies and we need them. Or maybe it was the bees. Oh, I can't remember. Bees, butterflies. Okay. All right. So I'm painting the middle part, and I'm dragging a little bit up because I heard that if you want to make something look cylindrical, I want to try and say that word, if you make it lighter on top, it'll look like it's got some shape. Instead of just being blobby and looking like a slug, it'll look like a slug, but it'll look better. I think that's all it is. Okay, so I am dropping a little bit of water on there. I love dropping water. There. Okay, so now it's time to do the other part, and that's when I go ahead and take my watered area. Don't take it from the blob. Remember, you don't want blobbies. And very, very carefully, do not do the details, but just paint the area around it. Okay, so I've got that little part that looks like that, and that one little sharp part because of my mess up. And then, now if you don't like how dark it is, remember you can always make it darker. If for some reason it gets wobbly and weird, you can fix it. You can just go in there and change the shape a little bit. But of course, if you do it on one side, you have to do it to the other. All right. This is all you have to do. It's kind of fun. I almost feel like if you had a Sharpie, this would be easier too, but then that would, you're not supposed to use Sharpies. Okay, the pens we're going to be using, at least the black pen, when you sign it, you have to sign it and date it for sure, is a arch, I want to say, not arch rival. Oh God, what do I want to say? I can't think of the word, but it means that it's okay to use. It's acid free. I can't think of the word. It's going to drive me crazy. Okay. So this is the part that I have to be super careful around these dots. Now, these yellow circles may get a little smaller, or they may disappear. But that's okay. As long as I try to keep them. Okay. Okay. If you see a little section with white, of course you need to paint it. If you think your bug in the center is too light, which I do, I'm going to go back and paint it again. But that's okay. Ooh. Oh, I'm kind of going on the outside of these. Ah. because this is the hard part. I think one of my animals ended up outside. So, hey, Don, I think one of the animals ended up outside. Outside. Well, outside the front door. Oh, are you sure? Okay, well, you just never know. I mean, it just sounded like she was in the front yard because sometimes they get out and then they're like, oh, I'm out here. What am I doing? Never a dull moment with those puppies. They are 10 months old now. Ooh. So I guess they're technically 5 or 6. Is that how old they are? Because when they're a year, they'd be 7 years old, right? Then why aren't they potty trained? Why are they still finding areas to poo and pee? Bad parenting. That's what it is. Oh well. It took my own kids a long time to be potty trained. Uh-oh. Hope none of his friends are listening to this. Okay, here we go. All right, so I think I could probably put it on pause while I'm doing this section because you really don't need to hear me talk about stupid things. And that's when it comes out, is when I'm painting carefully. I'm almost finished, so maybe I will. Once this is dry, we get to do our dots. Now you can do your dots however you want. Personally, I am going to try and follow the picture. I did quite a few dots, and I kind of thought that my dots looked silly because they were so uniform. So this next time I do my dots, I am going to follow the pattern, but I'm not going to make it look quite so rigid. I'm going to make my dots bigger. And yes, they're going to be the same, but they're not going to be so uniform. Because nature's not perfect. Well, it is. But I don't want it to look like I have them all lined up. Like I sat there and thought about where I'm going to put my dots. They can't be hilly-nilly, of course. Where did that expression come from? Probably my favorite thing to do, oh, I didn't put on pause and now I'm just talking, is to find out the origin of expressions. So where did hilly-nilly come from? Weird, weird, weird. Okay, good. This one got sharp and the rest of them are nice and smooth. I get so excited when I have something new to paint because it makes me really look at things. So the next time I see a butterfly, I'm going to think, oh, how exquisite is that? Imagine painting that. I've got so many great ideas for more paintings. I'm constantly searching the web and I've got some great ideas. Okay. Da 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 da. Woo! Man, that takes concentration. Well, the only thing that I think I need to do is the middle part again. I think I got a little too cavalier and made him too light. And now he just looks like some albino guy, and I don't want him to look that light. So I am darkening him up a little bit. I might even make his head a little bigger because I don't feel like he even has a head. So I'm bringing that out just a tiny bit. And I am soaking up a little bit like I did before, but it's just not quite as much. And then I want to go around and make sure that I don't have any white showing. So I'm going through it and carefully putting in a little bit more black, or where I don't feel that it's black enough. Ooh, I just feel like this is awesome. One of my favorite paintings, I think, just because it's easy. It really is easy, but it just sticks out. It's going to be like, whoa, especially when it's got that white thing on the outside, or you can make copies of it. The copies just don't come out quite as nice, though, as you notice. Okay, I'm going to put it on pause while I hair dry it. Here I go. Okay, hello, I'm here again. And now I'm going to share my screen. Go to here. Go to here. Ta-da. Okay. Now, where is that white pen of mine? I would love it if you just clean off the brushes by putting them in, just putting them in water real quick, but don't keep them there, and drying them off. Because if you dry them off, then they won't get all that, you know? And it's nice for the next person if they don't have blue on them or some crazy color. And they're going to be a little bit stained, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to do my wide angle. I'm going to go into my box of craziness and see what's in there. Dun, ta-da, I have my pen. What I do just to make sure that it's working is I gently, don't push very hard, is just draw on something. So, looking at my picture, I notice that, zoom in, I noticed on my picture that there's tiny little dots right around his head. So I saw a picture one time, and so it must be true. I know I'm going to put 6 little dots there. What they mean, I have no idea. Okay? Now, where am I going to put my other dots? Well, I guess I'm going to start off at the bottom. Maybe I'll start off at the top. I don't know. Where do I want mine? Where do I want them? Well, I do want to treat these as 2 separate ones, so there's 4 altogether. So I guess I'll just start up here. I'm going to put a couple. I'm going to do a biggish one like that. Oh, they're coming out quite big, actually. Well, that's okay. I just have to remember to do the same on the other side. So I'm going around the corner, putting my circles in there. Last time I did little dashes. This time I feel like I'm kind of feeling crazy, and I'm going to do circles. There we go. I've got circles. Instead of dashes, I'll do one here, but then one here, making it look like I'm going the opposite way. There we go. Okay. I do like the bigger ones, but it's up to you guys what you end up doing. And I'm going to do one more on the side here. Okay, 2. I'll do one here, and now I just have to kind of do the same thing. I don't think anybody's going to sit there and say, hold on, that is not exactly the same on one side as it is on the other. This is an imposter monarch. I don't think they're going to say that. Ah, this wasn't dry. Dang it all. Well, part of mine wasn't dry, so I'll have to go back in there. Ah, don't you do that. Ah, shoot. Well, it's almost dry. Okay, what craziness did I do here? Oh, I got to go back and look. I know I did 1, and then I did 2. So I did 1, and then I did 2. Then I did 1 here, and then I went 1, 2, 3, and then I went around the corner. Okay, good enough. Go back in there, put it in there. Okay, guys, now that I'm done, I don't think I'm going to sign it in this color. No, I'm not going to sign it. But I think it's important when you decide where you're going to put your, once you take it out and you decide where you're going to place it. I don't think it should be smack in the middle. I think it should be, like a little off like that. Ta-da! Isn't that beautiful? Or do I want it down lower? Ta-da! Yeah, then it looks like it's taking off. Never been happier. Okay, so I'm going to sign mine. J. McInnes. I love these pens. 2020. Hey, Dawn, you want to see it? I'm not going to put like a nib here, but I'm going to make a little area that looks like, yeah, that's good. Da 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 da. Okay, that's it, guys. This was the class, and I want to show you what we're doing in the next class. Somebody's here. I call this one, are you ready? I call this one penguins. I'm going to do these penguins. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see. It ends up looking like this, but there's only one way to do it because there's a fat one there. Unless you hate the fat one, you could do it this way. See, you could go all the way over like that. I'm going to give you a full piece of paper, but this is pretty much how it's going to look when it's done. It's like 4 little penguins doing a little dance job, and I will zoom in so you can see it. I made it look like the borealis in the background. I got it really wet and picked it up, but I got to tell you, these guys are cute, and it's easy, super easy. So please email me if you want to do the penguins, and of course I'll give you a full piece of paper. And I mean, I guess technically, if you didn't like that guy, you could do 3. But what's not to like? You got to get the grumpy guy in the front. It's like he's the one who rules it. Okay, everybody. So I have everything prepared for that already. Oh, and to make your life easier, I have everything typed up. I call them party penguins. And I also, to make your life even easier, I drew a picture. So you can follow this and then you don't mess up your paper. Everything's written up and I can send you a video. So email me. This is for next Thursday. Goodbye, everybody. It's been fun. I love teaching you guys. Bye. I gotta turn off the thing now. Ooh, I gotta go. That's enough. Stop.